All right, let's dive in. Today, we're cracking open one of the most influential texts ever written, the Analects of Confucius. Specifically, we're going to explore the Taibo chapter. It's packed with some really powerful ideas about virtue, leadership, and, well, how to be a good person. And it raises some pretty fascinating questions when you think about what those ideals look like in our world today.
So, let's kick things off with this really profound statement. It's about this ancient prince, Taibo. He was in line to rule, right? But 3 separate times, he quietly stepped aside so his younger brother could take the throne. And here's the craziest part. He did it so quietly, with zero fanfare, that nobody even knew about it. The people never even got the chance to praise him for this huge sacrifice. And that sets up a heck of a puzzle for us.
And that is the big question for today. What does it even mean to be good when nobody's watching? When you get absolutely no credit for it? I mean, in our world of social media and public image, this idea of a completely silent, unrecognized virtue, it feels almost alien, doesn't it? This is the core idea the Taibo chapter really wants us to think about.
The term the text uses for this quality is jide, which you can translate as ultimate virtue. It's this idea of a virtue so complete, so totally selfless, that it doesn't need anyone else to see it. It's not about putting on a show, it's about having an internal compass that's just right, no matter what you stand to gain. For Taibo, yielding the throne wasn't a clever move. It was just who he was.
Okay, so that's the big abstract ideal, ultimate virtue. But how do you actually live like that day to day? Well, the Analects gives us a practical guide through its vision of the junzi, which you could call the exemplary person or the ideal gentleman. This is about how that virtue gets translated into actual action.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. This table basically lays out a kind of formula for how to behave. What Confucius is saying is that even good qualities can turn bad if you don't have this thing called li, or propriety, to guide them. Just look. If you have respect without propriety, it just becomes exhausting work. If you're cautious, you just end up timid. Even bravery without this sense of propriety can lead to total chaos. So li isn't just about stuffy old rituals. It's like the ethical grammar that makes our virtues actually work in the real world.
And then one of Confucius's top students, a philosopher named Zengji, he gets even more specific. On his deathbed, he gives this incredible piece of advice. He says that true character isn't just about big, grand gestures. It's about the little things. It's about your body language, the look on your face, the actual tone of your voice. That's where virtue really shows up. It's how people experience your character in real time.
And here we have the ultimate stress test for the junzi. Think about it. Can you be trusted with someone who is completely vulnerable? Can you handle enormous power? And when everything hits the fan, do you stick to your principles? The text says that anyone who can pass these tests, well, they're not just a good person, they are the very foundation of a stable, just society.
So yeah, becoming this kind of person, it's not exactly a weekend project. The text makes it crystal clear that this is a long, hard journey. It talks specifically about the shi, the scholar official, and how they have to be ready for a lifetime of working on themselves. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the kind of mindset you need. This is not a path for the faint of heart, you know? It takes real strength and a deep understanding of what you're signing up for. But what exactly is that heavy burden?
What is this heavy responsibility that the scholar is supposed to carry their entire life?
Well, the answer is a single powerful concept, ren. You can translate it as benevolence or humaneness or just perfect virtue. That is the scholar's great burden. The whole point of this lifelong journey of self-improvement is to embody Ren in everything you do. And get this, the journey only ends when you die. It is the ultimate commitment.
And believe it or not, the Analects basically gives us a 3-step curriculum for this whole journey. First, you start with poetry, to open up your heart and spark your imagination. Then, you build your character with li, that social grammar we were just talking about. And finally, you bring it all together in harmony through music. It's a total education for your mind, your character, and your spirit.
All right, so we've talked about the individual. Now let's zoom out. How does one person's virtue actually end up shaping an entire society? How does this personal journey scale up? The text gives us this incredible example of the legendary sage king Yao. His greatness as a ruler wasn't about the number of laws he passed or battles he won. No, it was something so immense, so in tune with the natural world that it was like the sky itself. It was everywhere, it gave life, but the people couldn't even find a word for it.
That's leadership rooted in a moral authority that feels like a force of nature.
And this wasn't just a fairy tale idea. Check out this real-world example. Before they started their own dynasty, the Zhao clan had already earned the loyalty of 2/3 of the kingdom. They absolutely had the power to overthrow the ruling Yin dynasty. But they didn't. They chose to keep serving, leading through sheer moral influence instead of brute force.
And this is where it all comes full circle. The text uses the exact same phrase to describe the Zhou's political leadership, jita de, ultimate virtue, that it used for Prince Taibo's silent personal sacrifice. It draws a direct line from one person's private character to the moral health of an entire nation.
Okay, so let's bring it all home. What does any of this 2,500-year-old stuff have to do with us right now? How does this ancient blueprint for the ideal person stack up against the leaders and role models we see in our world today? So let's just quickly run through the big ideas. We've seen that ultimate virtue is selfless and silent, that propriety, or li, is what turns good intentions into good actions, that benevolence, ren, isn't a hobby, it's a lifelong responsibility, that real leadership comes from moral authority, not just raw power, and finally, that learning and self-improvement never, ever stop.
And that really brings us to our final thought. This ancient book isn't just a piece of history, it's a mirror. It's holding up this powerful blueprint for what an ideal, virtuous person could be. So when we look at our own world, our own leaders, and maybe even ourselves, the question I want to leave you with is this. Of all these qualities we've talked about, silent virtue, unwavering integrity, the lifelong pursuit of benevolence, which one do you think our world needs most right now?